Hey everyone, I want to give you a short update on Hello Neighbor because we have already released two builds and I just want to give an idea of what's coming. So the builds that we released, none of the stuff that is in them is going to be in the final game. That's because the pre-alpha, the one that's out for free for everyone, that one is a proof of concept. That one's just a basic gameplay example of how the game may or may not play. We figured out what people like with that build and then implemented that into the so-called Alpha 1. That's the one that you can actually buy right now. And people who bought that will be getting two more builds this year and several more next year. Leading up to launch. We're still trying to figure out how not to spoil the game, so this is a spoiler-free update. I'm not going to talk about the story or anything. What I'm going to talk about is what to expect in the two builds that are coming up. So there will be one build at the end of November for you guys, and that build is very similar to the one that I played at TwitchCon. That one has like the final art style is there. You're actually going to be able to see your hands, and that will probably end up in the full game as a tutorial slash opening sequence, you might add, because we do need to teach players how to play the game, how to solve the puzzles, and how to avoid the neighbor. So that build, the house is about the same size or a little bit smaller than the house in Alpha 1. It still has two floors, it's just not as massive. It's a very simple layout. Where upon beating that level, you will get into the basement, and that's the sequence that I showed in the basement gameplay trailer. So in that build, you'll be able to beat the game. It's a very short puzzle, and I think people who played the previous builds will appreciate where the art style is going. So that is coming. The build is pretty much ready. We just need to playtest that because you have seen the amount of glitches that people are able to get out of these builds. Now, the build that is coming in December, it's going to be a model of or a draft one. Yeah, let's call it the draft one of the final house. And the final house is massive. The house is absolutely huge. And it's been redesigned several times ever since we actually announced the game, because we just see the kind of stuff that people try to do. People really love climbing, people really love hardcore puzzles, and before releasing Alpha 1 we were wondering, okay, well, these puzzles might just be a little bit too much, when you have to, spoilers for the Alpha 1 if you haven't played it, the fact that you have to get the mannequin down to solve the math puzzle and then get the gun for that, we thought that people wouldn't figure that out, but people figured everything out, so the team is working really hard to get like puzzles that you will have a hard time solving. Now, the game will still play as a sandbox, and without spoilers or anything, there will be the large sandbox of the house, but we're designing it in a way that I think many of you will appreciate, where you have multiple ways of solving the puzzles. And I think the obvious question here is that how can you stretch like a single location into a full game? Well, I can tell you that we're not pulling off a Metal Gear Solid 2, where you had like the tanker and that was the only thing that was advertised, and then there's a whole other game was Raiden. I will tell you that the game will take place a lot in the house, but that's not the only location. And one of the locations that we have already revealed without the spoilers is the fact that the basement is actually going to be playable. How the basement will be playable and what are the other locations, I think that's what we're going to keep a secret, unless a lot of you guys really ask us to reveal some stuff, so then we'll post like a really big spoiler warning on what the final game is. The reason I'm a little bit on the fence about spoiling it or not is because the amount of feedback we get from the house playthroughs, it's insane. It's really, really useful. So I'm wondering if there's a way to create a situation where we can show the rest of the game and actually playtest it a lot, because we don't really want to do closed beta tests. That's not our style. And if we manage that, then we'll be able to make the other sequences really, really good. So that's the update. Stay tuned for two more builds this year for everyone who bought the Alpha 1 build. So you'll get the Alpha 2 with the opening sequence of the house, and then you'll get an Alpha 3, which is going to be the draft 1 of the final house, not the final one. So expect up until launch that we'll get about one build a month towards you guys. So that's it, and I'll talk to you later.